You know that feeling, right? You walk into a room and just blank. You completely forget why you went in there. Or maybe you're trying to recall a name that's right on the tip of your tongue. It's that little flicker of worry that makes you ask, is this just me getting older, or could it be something more serious? Well, if you're asking that question, you are definitely not alone. It's a stressful thing to think about, whether it's for yourself or for someone you love. The line can feel pretty blurry sometimes, but by the end of this, we're going to get some real clarity and hopefully move from that feeling of uncertainty to one of insight. So let's start with the basics. All right, first things first, we've got to get on the same page with what these words actually mean. People tend to use them interchangeably, but they are not the same thing. Nailing this down is step one to really understanding what's going on. Okay, think of it this way. Dementia is the big, general umbrella term. It describes a group of symptoms, kind of like saying someone has a fever or a cough. Now, Alzheimer's disease is a specific disease that causes those symptoms, just like the flu is a specific virus that causes a fever. So all Alzheimer's is a form of dementia, but not all dementia is caused by Alzheimer's. Make sense, right? Now, let's get to the most important principle that's going to help you sort this out in the real world. I like to call it the disruption test. And honestly, if you remember one thing, this should be it. So here's the absolute heart of the matter. It's not about if a memory slip happens. It's about whether that slip actually gets in the way of a person's ability to live their life. Normal aging might mean you're a bit more forgetful, sure, but it doesn't usually stop you from managing your day. The real red flag starts waving when these issues consistently disrupt everyday life. Let me give you a really clear example. Let's say you forget a neighbor's name, but then it pops into your head later that afternoon. That's a pretty typical age-related thing. But what if you forget that you had a long phone call with your son this morning? Or you keep asking the same question every 10 minutes because the answer just isn't sticking? See, that's a bigger warning sign because it's actively impacting how you function. Okay, let's dive into some more specific real-life examples. This is where that disruption test really comes alive, and you can see the difference between a simple one-off mistake and a pattern that's actually cause for concern. This chart really lays it out. For example, let's talk finances. Missing a bill once in a while, hey, it happens to the best of us. But a brand new, consistent problem with managing a budget or paying bills on time, that's a change in how the brain is functioning. Or think about misplacing things. We all lose our keys. The difference is, can you mentally retrace your steps to find them? That's typical. But putting your keys in, say, the refrigerator and having absolutely no idea how they got there, that's a different level of concern. It's a really common myth that dementia is all about losing your memory. But the truth is, the warning signs can show up in a lot of other ways. In someone's personality, their mood, their behavior, and sometimes these signs pop up long before memory loss becomes a big problem. So what else should you look out for? Well, maybe someone starts to pull away from their favorite hobbies or social gatherings because they're struggling to keep up. You might also see pretty dramatic shifts in their personality. Maybe a person who was always easygoing is now often confused, suspicious, or really anxious. This isn't just about getting grumpy with age, it's a real change in who they are. And this quote right here, it just nails it. Things like falling for obvious scams, making really poor financial choices out of the blue, or even a sudden change in personal grooming habits, these can be some of the earliest signs. It's all about a change in judgment, which we often overlook, but it's such an important clue. Okay, so after hearing all this, maybe you're feeling a bit worried. If you've been nodding along and recognizing some of these patterns, either in yourself or in someone you care about, it's totally normal to feel a little overwhelmed. But the most important thing is to take that feeling and turn it into action. But before you jump to any conclusions, and this is so important, please know that a whole bunch of other things can cause these exact same symptoms. We're talking about things like vitamin deficiencies, thyroid problems, infections, even depression. Many of these are totally treatable and reversible. That's why seeing a doctor is absolutely crucial. So here's your path forward. This isn't about panicking. It's about being empowered. First, just acknowledge what you're seeing. Don't try to ignore it. Then, make that doctor's appointment. And when you go, be prepared to talk about everything. The mood swings, the trouble with finances, not just the memory lapses. Why? Because early detection is a total game changer. It opens up so many doors to treatments, support, and resources that can make a world of difference. At the end of the day, understanding these differences isn't about living in fear. It's about having the knowledge to take proactive, loving action. So if you're concerned, the most powerful and hopeful thing you can do is just start that conversation. And just think about that for a second. What could that one conversation mean for the future? It could mean clarity. It could mean support. it could mean a much, much better path forward for everyone.